Hello, this is Scotty O, and I'm here with my new amazing friend Sharon. And we are here to talk a little bit about the Austin Tantra Festival coming up December 12th through 15th. Sharon is coming in from California. We met out there in person, and yeah, let's just I'll let her talk about what she is, what she does, and what she's a specialist in. So tell us about yourself, Sharon. Let's just start with that.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
Please.
I am what I consider to be an erotic mystic, an author, and spiritual innovator. And I'm leading a global movement called the Pleasure Renaissance. And that is really about restoring the way that we live our lives through the lens of pleasure instead of the lens of survival that we have been conditioned to live in now. And I believe that pleasure is a technology and that if we are in search of like what is our dharma or what is our purpose in life, what is the message that we're here to leave behind, I believe that how do we know that we're on that path to that dharma? And I believe pleasure is the answer. And I also come from a background in working in video games and comic books as a writer and creator. And so that sort of naturally creates a narrative for me that we are not only the game player, like the main game player in our lives, but we're also the game designer. And once we discover that, then the whole way of life is about playing in the game and learning like where are our power-ups and what are the skill trees? How do we level up? And again, I believe that pleasure is like one of the secret cheat codes. So I have this motto that you are the god of the game, your body is the console, and your pleasures are the cheat codes. So that's kind of like an introduction to me.
Nice. And I got to say, one of the things I loved about Sharon is that I felt like we clicked when we met each other because we have a similar view of the world. Like, I think that, we have been learning primarily through suffering and pain for thousands of years. And I think the world is shifting, that we're awakening, that moving forward, that'll still probably be part of our zeitgeist. But I think that we can grow and expand and learn through pleasure, through orgasm, through connection, through love, and it doesn't always have to be so hard. That's one of the things I've personally been overcoming is my programming that it has to be hard work, to be successful or whatnot. And it's like I'm ready to continue manifesting with more ease and grace in the future. So
Yeah. I'm agreeing with what you're saying because it's obviously there has been a big push in society around shadow work of late, especially in the last several years. And certainly having tools to hold space for their shadows and to sort of deal with shadow work is certainly important. But I believe that pleasure is the next transcendence. It's like the evolution of what's next after shadow work because when you pursue your pleasure and it is your primary focus, your shadow will come up automatically because that's just how the
yes,
process works.
right.
So yeah, so to be pleasure minded will it kicks the process in gear for you. Your shadows will come up, you have tools to deal with your shadows, and you can use pleasure in the integration process as well. So when you actually heal and your frequency expands, you can use pleasure as integration as well. So I really feel like pleasure is the is kind of the answer to everything. And like you said, like given where we are in the society, politically, at least here in the West, where some people will say, well, how can you tell us to focus on pleasure when things feel so dire? And I think that's exactly why we need to be focused on pleasure. I believe that pleasure is activism against the systems of control and fear that are in place now. And I believe that people that know their pleasure and that know how to sate their own pleasure are more fully formed people. They're more individualistic and they're less governable by systems of control and fear.
Yeah, I love that because one of the things I've learned through Tantra and personal development work is what you focus on grows. That's why every day I start with an attitude of gratitude because if I'm grateful for something, then I attract more of that in my life. If I, have the energy out there, also like resist persists. So if I'm like in resistance, that's like I hate what's going on, then that actually manifests more of that too. And someone else, you just talked about integrations. I just got a reframe the other day. Is like a lot of people think that what must come up must come down, or that like two steps forward, one step back. And it's like we're not actually ever going backwards. Like someone said, we're actually expanding and integrating, expanding and integrating. And I thought that was a better framework. And in my experience of like growth, it's kind of a there are ups and downs. It's not a straight line, but it's always like for me and most people who do tantra, it's always getting better, you know.
Yeah.
But you have these downlights is a way of like, as you said, the shadows automatically come up. You don't need to always hunt for them, and because some people that do, see them going in a spiral, and or they're just like staying in that and like re-traumatizing themselves over and over again. And
Yeah.
I think the way out is to is I love it. Pleasure is
Yeah,
that
and
is
and
this
you
one.
said it again, you said it so right. Like shadow work is like holding space, like we talk about like the window of tolerance and polyvagal theory, and it's like we hold space for that hard emotion long enough that it kind of collapses and then we expand. You can do the same thing with pleasure. Like what I've learned in my journey is to find the peak of my own pleasure. Like where's the edge of my pleasure? And let me
Right.
hold myself at that vibration until it collapses and I expand into even more pleasure. And I heard this thing years ago, and it literally stopped me. I had to pull my car over. I was listening to a podcast, a spiritual podcast, and a gentleman on there was talking. It was the podcast was about how what is it? The other shoe's gonna finally drop, right? When we hit a place where life is feeling really good, and we start to worry because we have that fear starts to kick in. And he said, what if, like, things are feeling so perfect? So perfect was the context. So he's like, what if perfect was on a spectrum and that it was just as likely that life could be double perfect than it could be less than perfect? And I'm getting chills again, even remembering. I literally pulled my car over because it literally blew the ceiling off the way that I thought life could look and feel. And so, what if every moment could be double perfect as much as it could be less than perfect? It was a huge unlock for me.
I love that. And I'll just say that, you know, one of the things I love about Tantra is it has expanded my life so far beyond what I thought was possible. I mean, just taking just sex for a second, like what I thought was good sex before, I look back now as like a sneeze, you know, like when you know what it's going from being a premature ejaculator to being able to have multiple orgasms and last for hours. It's a whole nother playing field, but it's not just about that. It's about all the energy that moves through, and then the all the things that happen because of that, and that like clearing my chakras and healing my trauma, and like all the spiritual experiences you start having. It gets really profound, and it's just like it also has opened my experience to magic. There's it's we're living in a so much more magical, vibrant, amazing paradise than we realize. And most of us are focused on what's not working, but the truth is like we are living heaven on earth, if we can make it better, And so anyway, that's my come from, and so I'm totally aligned with you with pleasure. So tell me a little bit about what you're teaching. Like, what are your
Yeah.
classes that you'll be presenting at the festival?
Yeah, there are two classes that I'm going to be presenting. The first one is called Forbidden Alchemy, and that is a riff on the book that just released a couple of weeks ago called Forbidden Alchemy:
Congratulations!
Transmuting.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's called Forbidden Alchemy: Transmuting Taboo into Erotic Medicine. And,
Mm,
just along the heels of what we were talking about with shadow work, again, this is like the next level of shadow work. It's like we get to use pleasure through our taboos to heal our past traumas, to release discordant frequencies from our body and make our lives better and brighter and more pleasurable. So it's about really embracing those things that are at our edge, the things that we think other people will judge us for are again those the key pieces of what we want to reintegrate. So the first one's Forbidden Alchemy. And then the second is on pleasure as a technology, which I sort of prefaced for, earlier. And again, talking about how, for example, everybody thinks that love and unconditional love is like the highest emotion that you can carry. But we know from the David Hawkins work that love actually sits in the middle. Here we go with the spectrum again. Love sits in the middle of the measurement of emotions and the things that we can feel. And what's above love? Joy, bliss, ecstasy, enlightenment. So to be in, there goes the chill again. Like, so to be in our
right.
pleasure is a higher frequency carrier wave, to call in your manifestations. It calls them in faster, it calls them in more precisely. And so, we're going to be talking about pleasure as literally a technology. And I also think that pleasure is the way the divine speaks through the body. And so we'll talk about
Mm,
that too.
wow, that's great. I'm excited to be in your class. Hopefully, we're not teaching at the same time, so I can be there. Let's see. Sweet. And by the way, just mention your book. Like, where can we find your book and so forth? That's exciting. It just launched.
Yeah, the book can be found anywhere books are sold and in libraries too. So whatever your favorite bookstore, certainly it's on Amazon. It can be found through the publisher, Grace Point Publishing. It can be found at bookshop.org if that's your favorite. So yeah, it's available everywhere.
What's your full name? That's, I don't know if you have an author's name that's different
Full
or
name. Yes. Sharon Marie Scott. I should have put that on my thing here. I keep forgetting to change my name, but Sharon Marie Scott is my name. And my website, sharonmariescott.com. It's also my Substack, substack.sharonmariescott. So I can be found
awesome.
on, IG and TikTok, all those places, and YouTube as well.
Cool. Well, this is I've been doing, Tantra is my focus, and this is it's like adjacent to what you're doing, but this is your first Tantra festival, correct? That you'll be coming to?
Yeah, I'm so
That's exciting.
excited that
So,
it's this one, that it's the biggest one that I get to go to. And I love,
yeah.
I do have friends in Austin, in the Tantra community, and I'm excited to experience this for the first time myself and go to classes and mingle with, people who are speaking the same language. It's very exciting to me.
We have many of the same friends. In fact, when we met, it's like it was a list of friends we've had in common for some time. So, your reputation preceded you before
Oh,
we
yours
actually met.
too. Thank you for saying that. I think by the time we friended on Facebook, it was something like 63 mutual friends or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I am really excited to share the Top Fest with you and anyone else who's listening to this. It's something that's really special to me. As you mentioned, it's the largest festival in the Americas. But what I really love about it is that for many people, it's their first exposure to Tantra. We have, I think 18 teachers now or something that coming from all over, some from internationally as well. So you get a great exposure to a lot of different types of Tantra, a lot of different styles. Different people's styles, appeal to different people. But the thing I like most about it is just the quality of the people. We have just such a lovely, heartfelt, loving, sexy, fun, playful, open-minded group of people that it's like they become my best friends. That's why I live in Austin. It's just because I've been helping grow this community and train this community or whatever for so many years that it's just like this is home for me and family. So
Yeah,
um,
I love what you're saying about, people's first exposure, and it's such what a profound and beautiful gift, that you're giving to people. Like another thing to know about my background, besides that I used to be a writer of comic books and video games, is that I've also been like a leader and mentor in the kink and BDSM communities and alternative lifestyles and alternative relating for like more than 10 years. And well, like I was on the board of directors for Leather Realm San Diego, which had a big presence at San Diego Pride every year. We had a huge, like 20,000 square foot, like black sheeted, 18 and older space. And for people, when we did this for years, and for a lot of people, that's the first time they've ever been exposed to anything kinky. And we have in the space, like you can come and see what it feels like to have a flogger, or see what it feels like to be tied by rope, or watch demonstrations of suspension. And they have vendors and have other kinds of deep, but dirty conversations. So I get it. Like, I love that it's going to be my first time being exposed to Tantra in a group level. And you're right. Like, I don't know the different disciplines within Tantra. And so like I'm excited to to broaden my own understanding, because I came in through the Neo Tantra specific, in California, and that's really kind of all I know. So I'm really excited to broaden my own knowledge of myself, my own, and to learn a bigger piece of wisdom around Tantra as a larger philosophy.
awesome. And I mean, I think you do Tantra. I mean, you'll probably have floggers and whips at the top festival as well, but it's like, but I have a pretty inclusive perspective of what Tantra is. In fact, my favorite saying is it's not either or, it's both and more. And what I love about that is it is a very inclusive abundance mindset, but it's also like when we get into a conversation with someone, it's like and people want to be right or wrong. It's like it's not right and wrong. It's like, we both have valid perspectives, and how can we bridge that and find like if I'm having an argument with someone. How do I find the solution that meets both of our needs or whatever? So it's a big topic. In fact, I should probably next year do a class just on that. But
I
anyway,
love that.
I'm brainstorming. So
Yeah.
if you are interested in coming, again, it's this December 2025, the 3rd to 12th through the 15th. There's also an after party on Monday night. You might want to make time space for if you are flying in. And go to the Austin Tantra Festival.com. And what's your code if you want to get an extra 10% off?
My code is Sharon10, and
All
I'd
right.
love to see people come in there to see me specifically. I would love that.
And we still are looking for some volunteers. So if you want to come and volunteer, you get a half price ticket. And if you want to do a double shift, you could probably even come for free. So check that out. There's a volunteer button on the website as well. So
And I'll mention, hey, if you happen to have your copy of Forbidden Alchemy, Transmuting Taboo into Erotic Medicine, and you want it signed, I would love to do that too.
sweet, sweet. Are you going to bring some books that we can buy and get
I haven't
delivered?
received my box from the publisher yet, so I'm still waiting for my
We'll
copy.
cross our
So,
fingers. So I would love to get one personally signed from you there too.
mm.
So sweet. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to see you. I'm excited we can connect more and go deeper and yeah, learn from each other and continue to make this world a better place. So anything
I'm
else you want to
in.
add before I let us go?
No, just let's make it a really memorable and unique experience. Let's raise everybody while we're there
We will.
together.
I personally guarantee if you're watching this and you come that you will enjoy it. I don't know anyone that has ever regretted coming to the festival. So with that, thanks for listening and great to see you again,
See you
Sharon. We'll talk
there.
soon.